Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot, and one day I'll be your favorite Diablo 4 content creator. Now, aside from me glitching in and out of reality, I'm here to bring you the sorcerer build that I'm currently using to completely devastate enemies. You guys have seen me do incredible things on stream, tank the butcher, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it for the early and mid game levels, meaning from levels 1 to 50, okay? Beyond that, I'm still in the testing phases, and the next update will come when my sorcerer hits level 70 and goes into the late game phase. That said, it's already really showing results right now, okay? And for all those people that said, you know, Sorc underpowered, Sorc got problems, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I do agree, but it's only all the other builds other than Frost. Basically, the Frost Sorcerer is still highly competitive and one of the strongest, especially once you put in Malignant Hearts. I have no doubt that all these people that claim that Sorc is underpowered are probably going to eventually put out a video saying, oh my god, I did this with the Sorc because, you know, clickbait, view farming, basically. I'm not a fan of that, and so I only choose to present correct, truthful information, and that's why I'm going to walk you through the skill build for the Sorcerer. Both the early and mid game are different, much like with the Bone Spear Necro, and I'm going to explain that. But first, in order to do that, we're going to have to refund all our points. This one's going to be a bit of a longer explanation than the Necro because we're not going to separate the two phases. Rather, we're going to do the whole thing at once. Why? Because the Sorcerer doesn't really have two separate phases, unlike with the Bone Spear Necro, like two distinct phases. Rather, they sort of bleed into each other. So I'm going to show you that right now. Let's refund everything. Okay, so how do we start this? Remove camera, let's talk. For the early phase, okay, I highly recommend that you go with Arc Lash. Arc Lash is going to be your basic of choice, okay? You want to probably, now I'm going to assume that you've got 5 extra points as well. So with your extra skill points, you want to go Chain Lightning, all right? Enhance, then Greater, okay? This will allow Chain Lightning to bounce between you and the enemy, increasing its damage. And early game, this serves as both your AoE as well as your elite killer. So your skill bar is going to look like that. Okay, at this point you are at level, well, basically level 0. When you hit level, well, you're level 1, sorry. When you get your first skill point, finish off Glinting Arc Lash. Okay, you can choose to go this way, right? Or you can go and add points into Fireball or Firebolt, whichever one you want to use as your enchantment. Either way, it's going to be the same, but honestly, I just did this. Okay, these are my first 6 skill points that I spent. Now, as you level up for the next 20 levels, okay, I'm going to walk you through the next 20 levels worth of skill points that'll finish you out at level 22. Okay, this is the early game build. Here's where I spent my points. Your focus is to get skills and also to power those skills up. So what I did first was teleport, okay? Then I went and got myself Frost Nova and then Ice Armor. Why didn't I enhance any of these? First, instead, I wanted all of them because I wanted to have all the defensive skills ready. Okay, but you still can't get any protection until you spend 2 more points. And the easiest way to do that is to actually go Enhanced Teleport and then Shimmering Teleport, or if you find that it's troublesome to fight elites at this current point in time, go for Enhanced Frost Nova, Mythical Frost Nova. Then immediately spend 2 points here, align the elements and protection. This is so that you can get a little bit of extra barrier at the start, and you'll also be able to get a Malignant Heart that allows you to heal while you have a barrier. In fact, let me pull up a quick reference to that. Malignant Hearts in Diablo 4. All Diablo 4 Malignant Hearts. This is a brutal heart. Let me see. Where are the general ones? It's a general one. Lionheart. The Lionheart Malignant Heart will allow you to have barrier generation as well as heal while you have an active barrier. So this will basically allow you to heal, and it's very easy to get early game when you're following the seasonal storyline. So, like I said, we're going to spend up to 26 points in total for the early game. This leaves us with another 13 points to spend because we've only spent 13 so far. All right, Your main focus will be to, you know, keep advancing along, but you basically have all the skills you need other than an alt. All right. Are you going to be able to reach an alt? Yes. Your last 3 skill points will be spent in this area. So you've got 10 more to spend until then. Where are you going to spend that 10? Well, me personally, this is what I did. Okay, you don't have to do the same thing, but this is what I did. I went with enhanced ice armor, enhanced teleport, shimmering teleport, and I chose, yeah, I actually chose mystical ice armor. But later on, if you feel that this is not doing it for you, okay, because damage against vulnerable enemies contributes 50% more to ice armor's barrier. If you don't find that this is useful, swap over for shimmering ice armor. Okay, but I generally find mystical ice armor far more valuable. Okay, so this settles it, and then you've still got another 6 points to spend. Chuck all of them into chain lightning, max that out. Okay, you will now have an extra 2 more points before you can get to this tree. Where do you put them? Well, for me, what I did was just that, like, I really wanted the extra damage, and at this point, I wasn't having any survival issues. I chucked both into glass cannon, because glass cannon is universally useful, okay? Then your last 3 skill points, you want to spend in unstable currents, prime unstable currents, supreme unstable currents. This gives you the alt of unstable currents. So, here's a summary of the early game build, and let me explain all of your skills in turn. Arc Lash will serve as your basic skill. This will not only allow you to cool down skills whenever you stun an enemy, but it also serves as a great AoE basic. Chain Lightning will assist you in dishing out AoE damage as well as dealing with elites in the early game because elites don't have a lot of hit points. They scale pretty quickly though, so I dropped Chain Lightning as soon as I got to mid-game level. But mid-game level for the Sorcerer comes after spending 7 more skill points because before then, you are quite ineffective at regenerating mana. Alright? The other skills in the build are standard across the board as well because Teleport is going to serve as a very, very good defensive ability. Ice Armor is the same and Frost Nova is the same, but I chose not to spend any extra skill points in this to reduce the cooldown because the vast majority of the cooldown reduction is going to come from your gear. Okay? I'm glad we've gotten to that point. Now, what you're going to do from here. Okay, so early game is done. Also, sorry, I should probably say, for your enchantments, right? The first enchantment that I used was actually the Fireball enchantment. Okay, so in the early game, I used Fireball instead of Firebolt. Why? Because Fireball works perfectly as an enchantment. If you use it as an enchantment, when you kill an enemy, they explode in a Fireball for 50% of its damage. So even if you just put 1 point into it, it's very, very strong and useful. And it just helps you clear waves fast. But after you get about 7 more points, and where do you put those 7 more points? Well, let's assume you put 1 into Fireball. You've already maxed out Chain Lightning. If you can survive well enough, put them all into Glass Cannon. Max out your protection. Still need 3 more points. This is where you can start working on passives if you really, really want to. I put 3 into Precision Magic as well. Why? Because Precision Magic is really, really good. You want Lucky Hit chance for your later build anyway. And then you can, like, add in extra passives, like, for example, Coursing Currents. This is also great. And you can take either Overflowing Energy or Veer's Mastery. I recommend Veer's Mastery before you swap over. But basically, once you have... Okay, I'm going to show you how to swap over now. Once you have about 37 points at least, okay, I would actually recommend doing the swap when you have 40 points. But 37 points, I would say at least 8 have to come from regions by now. By the time you get to this point, you should have at least 8 bonus skill points from a total, like the 5 basic bonus skill points you should already have. 3 more should come from whichever regions you've been farming initially. All right. And with all these bonus skill points, once you have all these 8 bonus skill points, okay, you should be about level 30 at the time that you swap over. So I would recommend swapping over around here or when you've gotten 3 more skill points, which would be around level 33. That's the time when the lightning build will start to fall off and you'll start to notice that elites are tougher to deal with, stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to show you how to restructure your whole build so that you can actually switch to my Ice Sorcerer version. So this early game version is literally just designed to help you get through the early game, get through your early farming. Now, I'm going to teach you how to really play the sorcerer. Okay, so first and foremost, you're going to refund some things. Okay, actually, you know what? Just to show you guys the proper way to do this, let's refund all. Again, the gold cost doesn't matter. So now you're going to build it up the right way. First, Frostbolt, Firebolt. Okay, as I said, 2 points, right? Put your Firebolt enchantment in here. Okay, your Ice Shards will still be in the enchantment slot here. But just be aware that unless you already have items contributing your Ice Shards, you won't have it yet because you've only spent 2 points so far, right? Okay. In terms of your skill assignment, make sure your Ice Shards is the next skill here, yeah? Okay, now jam all your points into Ice Shards and grab Enhanced and Destructive Ice Shards. Next, coming down to this area, grab all your key abilities. Oops, sorry, that's wrong. Grab all your key abilities like that, like so. Your skill bar should look like this, okay? Next, don't add any of the passives other than protection. Max out protection because you're gonna need it, okay? And max out precision magic as well. Here, Blizzard, Enhanced Blizzard, and Wizard's Blizzard, okay? The Wizard's Blizzard is crucial because when you have an active Blizzard, your core skills will cost 20% less mana. This mana reduction is so important. That's what Blizzard is for. Blizzard is a great enabler. Also, it has a good lucky hit chance, which you're gonna need. This lucky hit chance for Blizzard, okay, Blizzard will serve as your skill number 4. This extra lucky hit chance that you have is so good because it'll help you trigger this, Frigid Breeze. So what's your primary thing to do now? Permafrost, Icy Touch, max out Frigid Breeze first, okay? You must have this, and then your key passive is Avalanche. Basically, Frigid Breeze is a lucky hit where cold damage against vulnerable enemies has a 20% chance to generate 15 mana. This can be triggered by every single hit, because a lucky hit is on a per hit basis. Ice Shard hits 5 times. You can actually end up gaining mana in some situations. Avalanche works the same. Your frost skills have a 10% chance on lucky hit to make your next cast of Ice Shards, Frozen Orb, or Blizzard consume no mana and deal 40% increased damage. The chance is doubled against a vulnerable enemy. This is so crucial because you can make people vulnerable with Ice Shards. You can then cast Ice Shards basically for free, and then that may trigger Frigid Breeze. The more lucky hit chance you have, the more this build works smoothly, okay? And you literally have all the basics of this build right here. Now, which passive should you grab? Glass Cannon. Glass Cannon is so crucial because you deal more damage while taking more damage. But your Sorcerer has 3 skills that give it a 30% life barrier. You'll be fine. Also, damage reduction 30% with Shimmering Teleport. Easy peasy. Ice Armor gives you a huge barrier, and 5% of damage dealt is added to barrier. 7.5% when the target is vulnerable. So keep that in mind. Yeah? And Frost Nova freezes all enemies. So other than bosses, you can literally put everybody on ice and just win easily. Okay? So now you want to grab passives. Go for your offensive passives first. What I did was I went with Icy Veil and Snap Freeze. Why? Having a 9% chance to freeze instantly is really, really good, and Ice Shards automatically ricochet off frozen enemies. So I like to have this because freezing enemies is really good. Then, on top of that, I went with Hoarfrost, and I maxed out Icy Touch because you always make enemies vulnerable and you're mostly dealing cold damage. So 12% increased damage right here. You also want to increase Hoarfrost, which will be really, really good. Okay. I didn't take Cold Front because I found it useless. Next, you've still got some more points to spend. I would spend them Inner Flames and then max out Devouring Blaze. Okay. Although if they're immobilized, the bonus is increased from 21 to 30%. The 9% increase is not worth getting the Crippling Flames, and it doesn't trigger often enough, in my opinion. So Devouring Blaze is good enough because you will always have burning enemies, thanks to the fact that Firebolt is your enchantment, which allows you to burn any enemy that you deal damage to. Alright, so these two combined are going to burn everything, and then you can take advantage of Devouring Blaze. Okay, now you've got 8 points remaining. Where do these 8 points go? My personal recommendation is max out Permafrost so that you can kill elites faster. Then max out your Devastation here, okay? And then you can max out your Elemental Dominance. Okay, but if you find that your Frost Nova is not cooling down quickly enough, and this is just a recommendation from me to you, you can put 1 point into it. It will take the cooldown down by about a second, all right? But this can sometimes make a huge difference in combat. I leave it up to you whether you want to get an extra 3% damage or do you want to go full Frost Nova. It's really up to you. The other thing that you can do is instead of spending all your points in elemental dominance for another 3% damage, what I did was I personally went with elemental attunement. Unlucky hit, critical strikes, and you'll be doing a lot of critical strikes with this build. You've got a 5% chance to reset the cooldown of one of your defensive skills. This can only happen once every 10 seconds, but you lucky hit so often that honestly this triggers well enough, and it'll sometimes just reset the cooldown of Frost Nova if that's the only skill that I've triggered, so it can be pretty useful. So this is what I've done, but this last point you can literally do whatever you want with it, and you probably end up with the same, roughly the same results that I do, you know, in combat. So yeah, this is basically my loadout, my build, and it works so well. It works so well. If you need proof of it working well, well, I will show you soon. All right, I will show you soon. But before we go on to that, I've already talked about the skill build. I've talked about the enchantments and why we use them. Okay, so more will be shown in the practical showcase. But basically, you've got 3 defensive abilities to keep you alive. You've got an enchantment that will always work on frozen enemies and will always burn your targets, allowing you to do 2 types of elemental damage. Teleport is the 3rd type of elemental damage, lightning, all right? And that basically rounds you out. Why? Because of the Malignant Hearts you're going to use. Let me show you the Malignant Hearts that I have right now, and I'm also going to explain why they are the ideal choice. First of all, the 2 easiest Malignant Hearts to get are the Vicious Malignant Heart. Let me just go and refer to that. It is the Vicious Malignant Heart that, for the Sorcerer, that will, for each, it's Talrasha's Malignant Heart, but for each unique element that you deal damage with, you deal up to 12% increased damage for any number of seconds that is on the heart. In my case, I deal 11% increased damage for 7 seconds. This gives me a total of 33% increased damage because this will be refreshed if you deal damage with any element. And more importantly than that, okay, dealing damage with any element will literally re-trigger the full bonus. So, and I'll show you this later, but basically once I triggered all 3 bonuses for the 7 seconds, right, I can deal damage with ice shards and all 3 bonuses will remain active for the next 7 seconds. This is crucial, all right, because you can keep up this damage bonus really well, and 33% extra damage is nothing to sniff at. Next, the Brutal Heart that you want is the one that suppresses incoming damage. I have this weird feeling that it genuinely acts. Now, I am not a data miner, so I wouldn't be able to tell you, but I have a feeling that it acts almost like damage reduction, because ever since I equipped it, I've taken less damage. Okay, if somebody can confirm that I'm wrong, please tell me so, because I want you to test for yourself. If you test for yourself, you'll be able to see it. But this is a general heart, okay? It's called the Heart of Revenge, the Brutal Heart of Revenge, all right? And what you want is the 20% heart, if you can get it, where it will suppress 20% of the incoming damage, and then whenever you use a defensive, subterfuge, or macabre skill, all suppressed damage is amplified by 250% and then explodes, dealing fire damage to nearby enemies. Mine currently can deal 6,588 damage to nearby enemies, but basically this is absolutely an insane heart that you want to use, because it will allow you to not only suppress the damage, which seems to be working well, but it will allow you to basically dish the damage back. That's what's so good about it. Not only are you suppressing and reducing the damage, but dishing it back. Hang on, wait. Let me tell my chat off. Okay. And the Vicious Heart is excellent for, you know, improving your unique damage. Last but not least, what I've been using is this Wrathful Heart of the Barber. Okay, this Wrathful Heart of the Barber is absolutely insane. Okay, it sounds bad, but just hear me out. Critical strikes and all subsequent damage within 3.6 seconds is absorbed. Now in this case, now ideally you want 3 seconds on it. Okay, you don't want too much, you don't want too little, but listen. Mine is 3.6 seconds. So after you deal a critical strike, all subsequent damage will be absorbed by the target, and the absorbed damage then erupts onto surrounding enemies. Basically, it's like having a free fireball enchant, but you store up all this damage and deal massive AoE damage. It's so stupidly insane, and it works so well with the Sorcerer. I will demonstrate this during the combat showcase. Stored damage is increased by 13% per second. So ideally you want 3 seconds. That's 3 storages, okay? You don't really want 4 seconds because the delay is bad in upper levels when combat can get a bit dicey. And you don't want 2 seconds because that's not enough damage storage. Because each time it's increasing the stored damage, okay? So that is overall what you want. Now in terms of gear and aspects, okay, the only crucial aspect that you're gonna need, I've got a couple of aspects here, obviously, and Esu's Heirloom. But the most crucial aspect that you're going to need in the early and mid-game is this one, Piercing Cold. Aspect of Piercing Cold allows your ice shards to pierce 4 times, dealing less damage per subsequent enemy hit. But this aspect can be obtained from the Codex of Power. Okay, so let me filter by my class, sorry. And you'll find it's right here. It's unlocked by completing Dead Man's Dredge in Fractured Peaks. So you can obtain this easily and just slap it on something that you're not going to change. In my case, I put it on a ring. Okay, normally I'll put it on one of my wand or my focus. And that's it. That's the only aspect that you need in the early and mid game. It is so easy to get, so easy to use, and it is the most crucial aspect in this build. With that one aspect, you can do anything. All right? At least in the early and mid game. Late game, you will need a couple more aspects, but I'll go through that when we actually get to the late game. Now, in terms of what weapons and armor you need, kind of the same with the Necromancer. All you want to focus on is the highest damage per second. Later on, try and get good affixes as well. I haven't upgraded any of these because I've only just gone into World Tier 3, and I've only just gotten these, so I've just searched for the highest damage per second and slapped them on, that's it. I'm now searching for the proper affixes. In terms of your stats for your amulet, cooldown reduction and mana cost reduction are your most crucial, which I actually have here, but I haven't been able to find a good heart. I haven't been able to find another good Barber's Heart to put it in. So once I get another good Barber's Heart, I will swap this over to that and then, you know, get mana cost reduction and cooldown reduction and then just happily live with that amulet. Okay, your rings critical strike chance is the primary stat that you're looking for. Gloves critical strike chance, attack speed, lucky hit, and ranks of ice shards. Okay, boots movement speed. You're gonna use a wand because the base skill for the wand is lucky hit chance, and you're gonna use a focus because the base skill for the focus is cooldown reduction. Of course, try to get as much cooldown reduction as possible. With the wand, try to get as many damage affixes as possible. Here, cooldown reduction, critical strike are the 2 most important things. After that, try to get damage affixes on your focus, yeah? Then for your pants, damage reduction, max life. Armor, damage reduction, max life. Okay, helmet, maximum mana, cooldown reduction. You don't need any attack speed on basic. So your helmet only has 2 crucial stats, maximum mana, cooldown reduction, and of course, if you can, max life. Try to get this on the helmet. This will help you a lot. And that's basically it. That's basically it. And if you can, for boots, you won't be able to get Esu's Heirloom in the early and mid game, but look for boots that have good movement speed. If they've got good movement speed, that's okay. If they have bad movement speed, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to just suffer until you get ones with good movement speed. But Esu's Heirloom is really good. Okay, we're done with all the explanations. Now you guys understand this. I'm sure you're eager for a combat showcase. So ladies and gents, let me take you through combat. But before we go through that, we have to thank all the channel members and top supporters that make all these videos possible. If you guys are ready, let me go through it with you right now. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Starting right at the top, we have July's Big Wig supporters. Our biggest tipper, Zane Hoagland. All right, our July's top tipper list, Bravo7910, Jason Leaving. Our top super chatter list goes to Zane Hoagland as well. The top membership gifters are Sabingu, Mike Cawthorn. Top super chatters, Chris Muck, Mike Cawthorn, River Archer 124, Kenzo, and Ray's Reality. Thank you guys so much. All right, and now for our top channel members who make all my content possible. And thank you for all this insane support. You guys are the best of the best of the best. Okay, I absolutely adore all of you. But this goes out to all my top channel members who make all this shenanigans possible. You guys are top tier. All right. Starting from the tippy top, we've got Zane Hoagland as the only fan. Number 1 right there. Number 1 in duration is Death Dawning 982 at Plus Ultra for 17 months. Thank you so much. Jerry Fast OG, Rogue Assassin, Zach MG, all of them more than 15 months. Thank you guys so much, except for OG, he's new, but, you know, he's still going strong. Thank you, my prestige robots. In terms of the honored robots, we've got the following individuals. Let's start at the top. Corey Ryu, Marcel, Kaishiwa, Bob John, Maxim Lotz, Devin Lashin, Mookie Mocha, Rena, Chase Taylor, Nathan Strong, Sabingu, Lady Neo, Joey Danze, Dara Verse, Che D12, I'm Peeps, Syed Assad, Coda CMF, Kami SMH, Conrad C, Nate the Great, and Benjamin Savage. Thank you guys so much. Combat Showcase is coming now. Y'all have a good time. Watch this because you're gonna flip when you see how insane this build is. Alright, ladies and gents, it's time for the Combat Showcase. I'm currently in a tier 5 Nightmare Dungeon. Contrary to popular expectations, my sorcerer is not going to immediately drop dead just by entering a Nightmare Dungeon. Okay, I know many people somehow falsely believe this, but that is not the case. Alright, here we go. As you can see, starting combat just by freezing everybody results in instant death. It's really that simple. Okay, so how does the sorcerers play? Well, there isn't much to do. Just go in there, drop your Blizzard first, and then just start spamming Ice Shards. Your mana will start regenerating if you get a lucky hit on a vulnerable target. Okay, if you find that you have, you know, more targets to kill, just pop Ice Barrier or freeze them, and everything will end. Okay, these monsters are a bit higher than intended, but that's part of the showcase. You see, you're only supposed to fight creatures about 6 levels above you. This is the maximum that you can possibly get, because the maximum XP offset for World Tier 3 is 6, so that's why I'm demonstrating the build here. All you really need to do is just walk up and kill these guys. Like, just shoot your skills at them. They're gonna crumple, even if they're 6 levels above you. You don't even need, like, great gear. Just freeze them all and they're dead. Okay? So, that's how this build works. Just go in, freeze, Ice Shards. When you get a chance, drop Blizzard first. I'm trying to search for an elite so I can show you guys a slightly tougher fight, at least. Oh, hey, Treasure Goblin. If it's a Treasure Goblin, I'll usually drop my Blizzard first and then annihilate him that way. Because the Barber Wrathful Heart works even on the Treasure Goblin. Like, you'll store up all the damage and then kill him, which is hilarious. But always try to start the fight by dropping Blizzard first. This will give you a chance to trigger, because Blizzard has a high lucky hit strike chance. It'll give you a chance to trigger the effect of Avalanche, which will allow you to cast a skill for free and a boosted damage. So, okay, if there's an elite, I'll freeze them first, drop Blizzard, and then just start spamming. As you can see, my mana doesn't really drop even when I'm spamming. Alright, as long as I'm within the Blizzard area. Okay? So, yeah. As long as I've got a Blizzard going, my core skill is cheaper, and, of course, I have more chances of restoring mana. So, any elite fight, I'll just freeze them first, and then hit him with the Blizzard, and then start Ice Sharding. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't that guy take damage until he exploded at the end? That's the Wrathful Heart of the Barber. It'll allow them to absorb all the damage, and then finally, when the damage does explode, it's like a huge bursty amount, which is really awesome. Like I said, it's like having a free fireball enchant on, you know, everything. So let's try and draw this elite in so that we can have some fun with him. The freeze overall is subordinates. Drop the Blizzard, but it's not on him, but doesn't matter. He's dead anyway. And basically, that's it. That's literally every fight. This is how every fight's gonna go. Alright, even if creatures are above you, it's absolutely easy to win. And, yeah. Yeah, fights end before they even begin. I don't even, like, have to put in that much effort. Like so. You see, after the time expires, they all just explode and, like, get absolutely wiped. Are you guys keeping up with this? Like, this is just how it works. In, like, 3 minutes, you've basically smushed all these elites. You're not going to have a TDK as high as Bone Spear, but it's not too far off, honest to God. The TDK is only slightly slower. Marginally slower, I should say. And for those that don't know what TDK means, it stands for time to kill. This is how quickly you can kill your opponents. Now, what I am going to do is, in this particular case, right, we've got a cursed shrine. So I'm going to take the opportunity to show you guys, you know, how all this works under cursed shrine circumstances. Thanks to the Wrathful Heart of the Barber, it's so easy. Like, everything is just so easy. Yep, the enemies just die off. 5 waves completed. Okay. As you can see, I'm also triggering like all the elemental buffs, which is really, really freaking awesome. And wait, for some reason, why is 5 buffs stacked? Huh. I guess the Wrathful Heart counts as something else. That's pretty cool. But hey, I've got 5 elemental buffs stacked. Nice. And I'm not sure why that happens, but meh. I'll take extra damage. I'm not going to question any extra damage, okay? If it comes my way, that's all that matters. And there we go. Everything is dead. Life feels good. Maybe that was some of the damage that explodes out counts as like physical damage or something, but it certainly did it certainly counted as an extra element. So yeah, extra element power, baby. All right. So that's basically it. Nothing else too fancy or special. I think that is enough for you guys to grasp basically how this works and how the sorcerers functions. If I get a chance, I will film the boss fight if there is one. But other than that, that's how to play the sorcerer. And you just smoke everything instantly, okay? Enjoy my build, yeah?